What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we are back. I know we probably had the worst timing for our little hiatus, but it's okay. We're gonna hop into everything playoffs. We had guests, but trust they will be back for the finals, which will be happening in a couple of weeks. But Gail, what do you want to do? Do you just want to hop into the rough part of the playoffs that we have to discuss, or do you want to kind of ease into it?
I can amend some of my statements. I think I said there was no way in hell that the Miami Heat would beat the Bucks. Let's start there. Let's start at the most rough portion because how much do I divulge? Because there's a lot of information I could divulge. I had relationships on the rocks due to my outbursts, due to games. I had feelings that I haven't felt since the 2019 series against the Toronto Raptors. Let's start here. Congratulations to the Miami Heat.
That is a great place to start.
But that was coming quick. I was ready to interject immediately. I've never seen a softer whistle in my life for the man James Butler. My God, I've seen some things in my life. I've seen some things. That game 4, that was one thing. It's in Miami. It's expected. We fumbled that one. Game 5. I will preface it with this. We did ourselves no favors with how we played. Bud called no timeouts. He had 3 that he could have burned. Burned none at the end of regulation and none at the end of OT. He subbed Brook Lopez out on a possession where they were only probably going to get a tip at the rim. For what reason? I don't know. We let Grayson Allen dribble out the clock for our season. That's on us. All of that is on us. I get it. But there were factors in play that I didn't like. Which one was the whistle that James Butler had? I saw at the end of those games, they're like, oh my God, how is Jimmy hitting these shots? We can't touch him. I got Chris defending him like this for the last 4 or 5 possessions because if we breathe on him, it's a foul. I texted Samuel Adams Alioto at the 4-minute mark when Giannis picked up that offensive foul on Jimmy Butler and when Chris Middleton got the box out foul on Jimmy Butler. I said, it's happening again. I saw it immediately at that moment was when the game changed. They reffed him completely different. We saw that we had to change how we covered him. Oh, sorry. Also, to add to our fault, no Jay Crowder minutes, 1 Javon Carter minute. For what reason? Lord knows. But man, yeah, all factors made for a complete collapse of our season. If there's one positive thing that came out of it, Bud is gone. I apologize that it had to come at a time that it did because they did come out with that story that he did lose his brother during that time. That's hard. All of that aside, one of the worst coached games I've seen in my life. It was terrible. It was awful. I'm sitting at my TV screaming. What's happening? Why is Brook Lopez coming out the game for Pat Connaughton of all people? My students are in here. I have to make sure I'm keeping it PC. But whoa, what a collapse. Amazing collapse. One of the worst in history. And it took the great Ariana Walls, my beautiful girlfriend. She was like, what's the big deal?
Oh, God.
Why are you so upset?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's the worst loss in Bucks franchise history. That's why I'm so upset. A 1-8? Oh, man. That's me keeping it light. What was your synopsis on that?
Very fair. Man, I'll tell you, this should describe basically what I felt. So I watched all of game 4, right? Watched all of game 4. And in game 4, like, I'm expecting us to win this game because we're down 2-1, but Giannis comes back On top of that, the first 3 quarters, I'm like, okay, we look like we're rolling. Granted, Jimmy was balling from start to finish, but I'm like, it's just Jimmy for the most part. We should be able to sustain this double-digit lead we have, finish out. Let's see what game 5 looks like at home. Did not expect Jimmy to do what he did in game 4. But hey, that happens. We were playing around from jump. So being down 3-1, I can't act extremely surprised. The fear I had going into game 5, it did nothing, us being at home meant nothing to me. It meant absolutely nothing to me. Yep. At that point, the Bucks have never been a team as great as Giannis is and as good as a team as we've been the last 2 seasons, 2-3 seasons, including the championship year.
Yep.
I've never seen us as a team that had that type of dog, right? Like down 3-1, and the demeanor of the team is like, maybe not we good, but like, we're going to get this game and we'll figure out the next game going forward. I think them being the 1 seed, knowing they were potentially getting closed out by an 8 seed, I feel like we could tell in the players' body language. And honestly, in game 5, I don't think we played desperate enough.
No.
And I'm not going to argue the whistle, because I did think that Jimmy got some calls that were like, that's
Brook Lopez standing like this in the baseline, and he gets ran out of bounds, and they just give him that call.
Sorry, in all honesty, though, everything else is so glaring that I don't think the whistles make a difference. Maybe they make a difference in that game, but the habits we had already formed in that series, I don't think we really would have won game 6 based off what I saw in game 5. But historic letdown.
With that being said, who do you want to be the replacement for Bud?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think my top 3 that I would love to see is gonna be between Ty Lue, Monty, and Nick Nurse. I would love to see one of those 3. And I couldn't imagine either of those 3 not wanting to coach Giannis. So
right. I think, what was it? To be John's voice here, former guest of the pod. He says he doesn't want Nick Nurse because he's Tom Thibodeau 2.0.
That's tough.
Forgot why he said he. Yeah, I heard he said he ran FVV into the ground. We'll have John on the pod to, give his voice to that. But he said, yeah, he's just like, he runs his guys in the dirt. But I think that might have a case to do with Toronto being in the position that they were in, and that 9 playing spot where it's just like they had to just play guys to win, and that was what Jason.
They were in a weird position. So,
I think he said no on Monty because of the Phoenix series. Could be putting words in his mouth. Hopefully not.
Phoenix series isn't Monty's fault. I don't think. I just think Giannis in the last 4 games. What else was Monty supposed to do?
Exactly. So no game plan. The best player in the league. He wants Ty Lue. John did say his dream coach for the Bucks is Ty Lue. I think my second out of all of those to not take any of them would be Chris Quinn. I want somebody in the Spo tree that has shown. Like, you see the picture of his eyes are like that. That's like someone that knows schemes. All he does is study schemes. I need somebody that's going to be able to put guys in the right spot and also has been a part of our failure, our shortcomings. A coach that is like seeing exactly how to game plan against us so that he can bring out the best in us as well. That's the hope. It's a dream. So
he would be really good. I'm really interested to see the direction the Bucks go, because I would say Ty Lue is probably my number 1 choice. It was Nurse. It was Nurse for when it first came out that Nurse was gone and Bud got fired, obviously. I just thought Nurse, kind of for similar reasons, would make a lot of sense. Because I don't think Nurse is a terrible coach at all. And I think if you put Nurse in a better situation than what Toronto has been the last couple of seasons,
right,
I think we're not having this hesitation. with him. I really don't think Phoenix should have let Monty go, so that's a whole nother thing. But
That was a wild thing to do. Yeah. So yeah, coach. New topic is the coaching musical chairs. Monty Williams got fired. Doc Rivers got fired. Bud got fired. Nick Nurse is able to see teams. Ty Lue's able to see teams. Ime Udoka signed with the Rockets. Chris Quinn is able to talk to different teams. That's about it.
yeah,
Right
I don't know if there's too many other vacancies in the league, and I don't see too many coming that aren't out there.
I think the odd man out of all those coaches, I think Chris Quinn gets promoted and Doc is out of a job out of any of those coaches.
Doc might very much be out of a job only because I don't really, out of the openings, I don't really know.
The Clippers he's done already.
I really don't want him.
I don't think they're going to bring him up. That's the only viable option for him, the Marquette connection. That's the only one that's still left for him to take. But Lord knows, I love Doc too. I'm afraid of that man.
Yeah, I don't. Doc may be the odd man out, but it's crazy because all these teams that are without coaches are still like teams very much like they're not far from contention. The Clippers ideally aren't far from contention. Milwaukee isn't far from contention. Phoenix isn't far from contention. Toronto, depending on what they want to do with that roster, isn't far from contention. So
yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see how that carousel for coaches works. I don't know if I have ideal places that I would want coaches to be, but I think that'll be another interesting part of the offseason is seeing where coaches land. And because for Bud to be so highly in the running for Philly is a bit surprising, only because I just don't see how that's too different of a situation than Milwaukee was, if I'm being completely honest.
Right, yeah.
I'm not sure, but I mean that'll be something to keep in mind for the offseason as well. But there's a lot of great candidates. I don't know if there's ever been this many solid positions open. With
and
this
solid coaches available
candidates.
too.
Yeah, so that'll
they
be
might just do a little musical chairs and Chris Quinn will slip in one. I think Doc is gonna be sitting there like, damn, where'd my chair go?
yeah.
He's gonna be on ESPN next year. We're gonna be hearing, yeah, so Embiid's been balling this year. He's gonna be on his Mark Jackson. He's out there.
Yeah.
He's got a chair there.
Yeah. Really, really quickly before we jump into the conference finals. So I'm just gonna like do a quick run through of like other first round and second round things that I thought were either notable or just things that'll be interesting. So I'm not surprised that the Cavs kind of fumbled the way they did. I really expected it. They were just a young team, inexperienced. They have to figure that out. I don't think they're a bad team. I think they still have a really high ceiling. I don't know why the Boston Atlanta series went 6 games, but if you watch the rest of the playoffs, you're starting to see why they went 6 games with Atlanta, and they're in danger right now. Who else was out there? Philly going through Brooklyn. Yeah. So second round, let me go out west. Knew the Lakers were going to beat Memphis. I just feel like Memphis had too much going on, and the Lakers have been the best team since the trade.
Not being brought back under any circumstances.
That's while unfair to some degree, extremely hilarious.
You're poking LeBron. Of course. They're not going to bring you back. Oh God, we'll get into Ja later.
Yeah, got them. Yeah.
Well, actually, we had a podcast already about that. Go to our old episode, and whatever we said about Ja then,
same thing, pretty much.
Just hit replay.
Well, honestly, truly, the only thing I would add at this point is like a lot of people are really split, and I would say like a lot of like black people are really split on how they feel about him, and I just feel like it's about what matters. I agree. He didn't break a law, but I don't think that breaking a law here is what matters. What matters is you are a face of the league. You are a face of the NBA. You can't do that, bro. You just can't. That's all it is, bro. That's all that comes down to it. How many other faces of the league do you see doing that and try to prove a point by saying, oh, I should be able to do this because it's not.
They tried to bring that Chris Kaman picture up. It's like, that's Chris Kaman. Who cares about Chris Kaman? It's Ja Morant. He's about to be the face of the league, like you said. His own signature Nike shoe. It's a private company. The company says no showing guns on IG. Don't show your guns on IG.
That's all you have to do. Nobody's mad that
Simple.
you own. Nobody's mad that you own a gun. Nobody's saying you can't own a gun. Nobody's saying you can't really do whatever you want to do. Obviously, outside of
Don't
crazy stuff,
tote it
the gun.
on
But
IG
why
Live.
showing it for what? That's my only thing about that. There's literally nothing else more to say. That's all it comes down to for me. But
To who?
Memphis has so much to figure out there. The Sacramento Golden State series was beautiful. It was amazing.
Best one. Other than like the
Best
Lakers one. Phenomenal.
Yeah, best series of the first round.
They're gonna be so good for the years to come.
I really hate that Sabonis got exposed in that series.
Yeah. He wasn't shooting like he was so hesitant to shoot. I've never seen him so hesitant to shoot.
So yeah, Sacramento will definitely have to figure that out. But really high again, really high ceiling. And I really think they're a few mistakes away from coming out of that series, to be honest. So
literally
that's that. Denver flew through. Phoenix flew through. Hate that Kawhi went out like that. That's a whole nother conversation for another
man. Oh man.
Yeah, that's another conversation for another pod. I would have loved to see that series healthy though. For sure. So then we get in the second round. LA and Golden State, I don't think it lived up to the hype per se, but Golden State, I said all year that I would never count them out, but that they didn't look the same. And I don't think they have this thing where they can turn it on. And again, the Lakers just have been one of the better teams since the trade deadline, and they've really been rolling and figured out, what works for them. So I'm not surprised the Lakers won that series. I'm not surprised that Denver beat Phoenix in 6, especially when CP went out. But even before then, Phoenix has been top heavy since that trade, and that was going to get exposed the further you got into the playoffs anyway, because there was no way Booker and KD were going to be playing 40 minutes throughout the entire playoffs. And
what was going on with Aiden smiling at halftime when they're getting popped?
I have no idea. I don't know what to make of DeAndre Aiden at this point. He's
see. Weirdo, bro. He's like that's so weird.
We'll see what team he goes to because he's definitely out of there. So there's that. But then get back to the East. Miami and New York, I really wanted it to be a better series, but New York's going to have to figure something out because Brunson is your only guy. I don't know.
He's really good.
Julie. I don't know. Brunson is
he's a dog. He's in my top. He's in my top 10 point guard conversation right now.
He has to be. He has
really
to,
good.
To be completely honest. And I don't know what happened to Julius Randle. I don't know why there's such a significant drop off from him from regular season. I'm so weak from regular season to the playoffs, but that can't happen if the Knicks want to be successful or consider themselves a contender in the East, which
that doesn't look like
is wide open. By the way, the East is actually wide open. But that'll be another conversation for another pod. And then Philly and Boston, man.
And they said that, hold on. The whole dialogue about Embiid saying, yeah, me and James can't be the only one out there balling. What do you mean? What do you mean? This man, oh man, even though I predicted it right, and I said he was going to be MVP, maybe what was that tweet? What was that tweet that banged off? Maybe I let my Pan-Africanism blind me. Because what? I'm alone now. What do you mean by that, sir? You are the MVP. What do you mean? Maxey was the only one balling out there. PJ had 11 in the first quarter. When has PJ scored 11 in a game? And you said you need more help. You let Jason Tatum dial you up for 51.
So when Philly won game 5, right? Because mind you, I didn't expect to have 2 40-point games from Harden through the first 4 games of the series.
Through the whole playoffs.
But also outside of those 40-point games, he was pretty abysmal. So, but when Philly won game 5, I think everybody pretty much knew that like they have to win in 6 or that they're not going to win back at the Garden. I didn't see them winning at the Garden again 3 times in the series. Like ridiculous. Philly barely squeaked out a win in game 4, I believe it was. But when they won game 5, I said, y'all got to go home and take care of business. It's as simple as that.
We saw what we did. You don't bring it home at home, they will go back to the Garden.
And
Dot you
so,
up.
and so I don't know what to make of that. But Philly is in a place now where Embiid, that narrative is going to get really interesting because
how does a team lose a game at home when the opposing team star player has 3 points through the first 3 quarters? Celtics, LA, Kobe has 3 points in the first 3 quarters. How? I'm just for reference, because this is their Kobe. This is the Celtics Kobe at this point. What do you mean? How? How does that happen? I get losing a game, but where the star player has 3 points through the first 3 quarters, you let him drop 16 in the fourth and bring it home and bring it back to his home, and then dot you up for 51.
And that's not to take away from Tatum at all. It's not. But it's really just more that was a weird series, but that has huge implications for Philly because once again,
when you're talking about a team with a core that might need to blow it up, that's a team I look at and I'm like,
well, Philly screwed up when they chose Tobias over Jimmy. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the part right there. There's a point in every team's existence where it's like, that's the move that did it. Like Cleveland, the Kyrie for Isaiah Thomas trade. Like, damn. Maybe we should have just kept his annoying ass. Dallas, I think I could say it right now, trading for Kyrie. Think that was their moment. They made it to a conference finals. They could have lived with all those 3-and-D guys, just pieced around it and figured it out. I don't think the Kyrie trade is.
I don't want to blame all that on Kyrie because
I'm not blaming it on Kyrie. I blame it on Mark Cuban. I think that trade is going to be the beginning of the end of Luka in Dallas. Mark my words when we do this pod in like a year and a half. I think that that's going to be the trade we look back at in 2 years like, damn, that killed Dallas, didn't it?
I don't know. I really don't know if Kyrie will be the reason because I think Luka was going to have to face the music at some point because they got to the conference finals on a fumble from Phoenix in Game 7 last year. They were no match for the Warriors to begin with, and that's that. When they brought back this team was struggling throughout most of the season as is, and Luka was literally carrying the team as he's been doing since he's been there. So at some point, Luka was either going to demand more help or face the music of, okay, there's also some shortcomings to Luka.
I apologize. You can take it back a half a season, not picking up Jalen Brunson's contract.
That's the move.
That was it.
That's the move.
Yeah.
That especially looking
after the series he had too.
That's the move because if they have all you really needed was another guy to take the pressure off of Luka. I would still love to see them with a legitimate big. Like that's why I think Aiden would actually fit great in Dallas. But if you have somebody else that can take the pressure off Luka, and again, somebody else is like, yeah, you go do you. Like I can either be sitting on the bench or I can be on the court and I can play off of you. You know what I'm saying? Which it's not like he can't do that with Kyrie, but you just lost some of your guys. You know what I'm saying? So that that's how that works out. But yeah, that'll be that move for Dallas. But yeah, man, Windows, bro. It's the league is so. I think we get into this conversation all the time of, who all these players are and where they rank, and we can talk all we want about Bron, but Bron has had the longest window of any player that I've seen in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? But like all these, how many other players are like, you got a year or two, maybe 3 max, where you in that talk and you maybe get into the conference finals or the finals. Like it's not happening. After 19, what does Kawhi look like? Kawhi hasn't touched the conference finals since. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at all these teams, like Jimmy's actually been one of the more consistent players in the last 3 years in terms of finals, out first round, but then conference finals and conference finals.
Yeah.
So, you like there's not too many players though that are returning. Like, Booker, outed after going to the finals. With the Lakers, like and Bron, Steph, like these gaps are there, and you can't always bank on just that being a guarantee because the league is getting better, teams are getting better, people are moving. Like the league is changing so much year by year that you got to get it while you can. That's why I think it's important for a lot of teams to really figure out like where are you at now and what do you want to do? Are you committing to this or are you trying to make this happen? Because windows are very small and everybody's going to run into a rebuild at some point, right? Yep. Some people have longer, instances, in between them than others, but you're going to run into a rebuild. So it's just a matter of, do you want to commit to that and jump into it now? Or do you think you can make some moves and stay in contention a little longer before it inevitably gets to that point?
Fair. Yeah. Well, hey, that's a perfect segue into current day. 1-0 Nuggets over LA. Game 2 is tonight. 1-0 Miami over Boston. So, out of these series, who do you think is coming out of the West? Who do you think is coming out of the East? Who is that finals matchup that we're getting? We getting good ratings or are we getting some mid?
The script says we're getting
Before you even say it. Before you even say it, I talked over it, so I didn't hear. Were you going to say Celtics LA?
Yes.
Because my brother thought it was Philly. This is for Alexander Luis Brown. His full government's going out there. You said the script was for Philly. You said that Embiid got his MVP and they were going to waltz Philly right in there. You were close.
It was supposed to be. Close. It was supposed to be.
But I told him, I was like, they want that 17 ship versus 17 ship. Old rivalry, new teams, new faces, transferring the torch. Bron, Tatum, that's what they want. That's 100% what they want. If they couldn't get Jokic and Embiid, that's for sure. And I'm not watching it. I'm not tuning in, even though I want to see Bron get that fifth. Yuck.
Why aren't you watching it?
Buddy, I can't. It was I think the third time we had Celtics LA with KG and Kobe. I didn't watch that shit. I was like, no, I can't take any more of it. I've seen too many Celtics LA series in my lifetime. For if the NBA wants that script, they can have it. I'm good. I don't want to see it. I'll watch the last game, the deciding game. I'll probably tune in. But everything before that, yuck, man. I don't want to see Al Horford shoot this shit from the corner 7 times a game. I don't need to see AD play a good game and then not play at all the next game, go out in a wheelchair. I don't want to see theatrics. I'm done with it. I just want to see good basketball. And it seems like they don't want us to have that. They want to see Bubble 2. They want to see Jimmy versus LeBron, a boring series. That Bubble series was whack. Let's be honest. Do you remember what happened in that LA-Miami series?
I do remember.
Other than the Popeyes meme from Jimmy Butler?
Not the Popeyes meme. I mean, outside of that, Jimmy had a really good series. I mean, I think the Lakers were just the better team. They were the best team in the bubble. So, that's that. But I do think, I think the script says Celtics Lakers. And I want to say that that's still going to happen. However,
that game won.
So if we're looking out west, first of all, Jokic is ridiculous. Has been ridiculous, but he's nuts. Given
balling
problem,
dog made AD look like a nobody.
Chop suey is what he looked like.
Made AD look like A.
I'm crying.
He was not playing no D.
Crazy thing was AD still had 40 and 10. That's the wild part about game 1. But even though Denver won that game, and I had to go back and watch the highlights because I fell asleep on the game. But point is, even from what I saw, it's like the Lakers still seem to have found their rhythm. And I don't know how many games you can count on the bench players for Denver to play the way they did. Because not only did Jokic have 39 or whatever he had, 36, 30, whatever he had, Murray had 31, Caldwell Pope had 16, and Bruce Brown had 15. Like, if that happens, then yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to withstand a lot. You know what I'm saying? But if the Lakers don't start so slow, like you could argue that the Lakers might win that game.
They
So I
match
don't
up
think
well too. Like it's
they
a lot of
do.
like rangy guards that defend versus a lot of rangy guards that
It's
defend. And a stationary big in Braun or AD. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's actually a really good matchup. So I think that one has the potential to. That's probably going to be I won't say the better series, but that's the series where I'm looking like that could really be a boxing match. That could really go back and forth depending on which player decides to take over that game. How many good games are you going to get out of Murray? Or how many duds are you going to get out of AD? Is LeBron gonna, is this going to be the series where Bron kind of elevates? Who knows? I don't know. All those elements up in the air. We'll see. I still think Lakers come out of that though.
For the East, even though it's 1-0 Heat, I think whoever wins that series, it'll be a gentleman's sweep. Whoever wins that series. I think Celtics run off either 4 straight or the Heat drop one more and take that. Because I don't know what's going on. The teams face the Heat and then forget to play basketball or what?
This goes back to my point. I brought up Boston and why that series went 6 with Atlanta. For whatever reason, bro, Boston just I'm in this Discord chat with these guys and we talk about it all the time. Boston they pick and choose when they want to be locked in. From a talent perspective, there's absolutely no reason Boston shouldn't have swept Atlanta. They really should have beat Philly in like 6.
Yep.
And from a talent perspective, they should be the one gentleman sweeping Miami. But for whatever reason, you have these like 2-3 game stretches where Tatum gives you a dud, or you have these stretches where the role players don't show up. And when you're playing a team like Miami with a lot of guys who have something to prove and a whole team that has nothing to lose because nobody expected them to be here, that's an extremely dangerous combination. Whereas on the other end, there are so many implications for Boston. If Boston doesn't get back to the finals, that's going to be looked at as a disappointment. If they don't get back to the finals, more than likely Jaylen Brown is going to leave. And so you're going to have to figure out
going to Ime.
You're going to have to figure out what that looks like. So Boston now has more pressure. And for whatever reason, they don't always play well, with that pressure. Now, Boston, I don't necessarily agree there's going to be a gentleman's sweep because I think if Boston loses, it'll still be in 6. I don't see them only winning one game. Like they have enough fight where they're going to get at least 2 if that's how the series decides to go. But Tatum's going to have to he's going to have to be that guy. Like JB's going to have to be that guy. If they're not, but this also really, really comes down to, again, coaching. We talked a lot about Mazzulla, a lot of people saying his praise the entire season, and rightfully so. Not trying to take too much away from him. But if you've watched in the playoffs, and I had to have some guys point this out to me, but he's been getting exposed as well. And he's not making a lot of in-game adjustments. He's not, calling timeouts.
My Cal was saying during the season, he's like, man, Mazzulla can't coach. I forgot what's happening. I think it was that Philly series. Derek White's getting cooked play after play. Like they were just like, oh, hey, Tobias, cook him. They're giving it to Tobias Harris. They say, oh, Maxey, you got Derek White? Go crazy. And this man kept that man in 4 straight possessions. They went back to back to back to back on Derek White.
Yeah.
He didn't make one move. It's crazy. It took some looking, but I'm like, oh yeah, like that man, there's some flaws there too. For how great of a coach he is, just like, how do you sit there and be like, oh yeah, that's fine. My man's getting worked, play, that's okay.
I think one of the biggest things I saw from game 1, when Miami went on that run in the third, I think like the entire third quarter, I don't think he called a timeout. If I remember what I read correctly, I don't think he called a timeout during that run at all. But in the beginning of the fourth quarter, I think Boston maybe went on like a 7-0 run. and like Spo called a timeout within like the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That right there is just such a glaring difference in approach and perspective to the game. Like it's one thing to let your players kind of play through something, but at a certain point, like
Gotta say something.
You the coach, not me. You know what I'm saying? but like at a certain point, something got to give. It would be extremely wild to see a Denver Miami finals.
Oh man,
I would just love to see the discourse on Twitter, like the disdain for it.
I'll watch that, and I don't even want to see Miami touch, smell, breathe near the finals. I'll watch that.
It'll be good basketball, and I think it will be two very deserving teams and stars, like worthy of their opportunity at a ring as well. And I think that's why
to see Bum Adebayo get cooked. That'd be crazy.
You gotta stop this.
That's our Bam.
You gotta stop.
I know Bam, not Bum Adebayo. Bam, my fault.
You know everybody watching gonna get on you because you talk about Bam, but we got knocked out. You can't be doing that. We can't say nothing until after the playoffs, man.
Hey, no, I'm a still talk. Hey, I'm an equal opportunist trash talker. I'm like Pat Bev. I won't shut up just because I'm down 40. Yeah, that's the sign of a good trash talker. If I shut up, that means that they won.
It's different being down 40 and being in Cancun. We are in Cancun, bro.
Hey, man, he's still a bum. I see his game. He's got DeAndre Ayton 2.0 written all over him. That soft floater.
That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
Hey now, I haven't seen this man dunk in like 2-3 games. Sorry, 2-3 series.
I'm sorry. I can't let you take it that far. I can't let you compare Bam to DeAndre.
He's got those arm pads for what? This man doesn't dive on the floor.
You know what? Matter of fact,
he's not taking it in to dunk on anybody. What, to do a floater? Is it for arm control?
I'm clipping this so all my homies that are Heat fans can attack you in the comments. Because I'm
gonna add to it. Hey, wait, extend the clip. I had this man over 2.5 assists. My man can't get 2.5 assists on the Heat. So I thought he was a passing big.
So this is about the parlay.
My slip.
This is about the parlay.
No, one time. I've never been on him again. Don't worry. He's never seen a slip in his life, unless it's a turnover slip, unless it's a floater's attempted slip. Those are only slips he's seen.
You're an idiot, bro. You're an absolute idiot.
If there's a floaters per game slip, him and DeAndre Ayton, I'm pushing that over.
So, okay. Here's what I want to see. I wouldn't mind seeing LA Boston for history. I wouldn't mind seeing Denver Miami for good basketball and for new players getting an opportunity at a ring. What I think we're going to see is LA Miami, though. I think we're going to get a bubble rematch.
Don't say it, Steve.
I think we're going to get a bubble rematch.
Could you just put those words back in your mouth so that we can't have this happen? You know how like when you say something, it ends up happening? I don't want to see. I don't. I'm gonna put on the 2020 bubble. I'm gonna put on the 2020 bubble. Be like,
the script's already done, bro. And don't let Jimmy beat Bron.
No, you want to know who I want to get a ring? But I want LeBron to get a ring.
I wouldn't mind.
For the sole fact that next year, granted, Russell Westbrook will get a ring. That's awesome. Congrats to Brody. You give Pat Bev a ring, we might not ever hear that man shut up. That man's gonna talk till the day he dies. If you give Pat Bev a ring, next year becomes infinitely more fun. He goes to that ring ceremony in a Chicago Bulls jersey. All summer we had Cone Paul last year to talk about. My man's gonna be going crazy. He's gonna go Mach 10 on a mic. If you give LA a ring, I'm happy for that reason alone. I am elated because the jump is going to be better than ever.
I can't be mad at that. I can't.
Oh man, for like bar none, that's the best reason that LA should get a ring. And if you don't believe that they should get a ring for that reason alone, you're no fun.
Yeah, I can't be mad at that. Actually, I would love to see that just for the antics alone. Yeah,
layers. He's gonna be coming on the court on the ring catching a tease. Like what? What? Oh.
He's
this. He'll do that.
He would. And that's the last thing I'm going to allow him to say on this very chaotic episode of the Right Quality podcast.
Hey, man, 2030 is about to be a movie.
Hey, dog, I'm not about to keep doing this with you. Continue watching the conference finals. We will be back probably to sum up at the end as they are wrapping up. And then we will obviously have a finals preview as we'll have a little bit of time, but we'll have a finals preview for you. And we'll see if our predictions are correct. But
Miguel Emilio lives on in NFL Street Volume 2, the number one quarterback to ever live next to Mike Vick. If y'all are trying to get the smoke, come find me. If anyone's got a PS2 still and a working copy of NFL Street Volume 2. I've been grinding, Steve. And I in honor of you, underneath my name when I score a touchdown, it says Emilio. So you can you have that to thank yourself for.
yo, I don't have no words. We just gonna see y'all next time.
Peace.